Well, hello there. Carol Dockum here with Beautiful Faces, Going Places Women's Success Network. And I'm super pumped today as we are continuing with our mini masterclass series here at beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com. And if you're just wondering, or this is the first time you've seen us here live stream, or have participated in our events, we are a professional women's network where we are all about visibility, education, and connections and fun. I love to say, if you are not having fun, you shouldn't be doing what you're doing, right? So we need to be having fun as women entrepreneurs, small business owners, and solopreneurs, right? So thank you so much for joining us here today. I do want to just give a shout out here to everyone that took the time out to join us. Hello, Claire. Hello, Yasna, Nicole, Caitlin, Diana, and Laura. Thank you so much for joining Theresa and I. We're so excited to be here today. And thank you so much for joining us. So, all right. So we are on to our program here. I'm excited to introduce our host. Today, we are going to learn what actually keeps us from struggling in our weight loss and health and wellness and fitness goals that we set for ourselves, right? What is holding us back? So Theresa is the owner and creator of the Lighter Life Coach, author of the best-selling book Micro Shift, a speaker and a leader in personal development. The programs she creates guides her clients from their current reality to their desired results and empowers them to create a life they are excited about living. Theresa's expertise and knowledge comes from her experience working as a teacher, a personal trainer, a health coach, and a life coach, as well as her own personal journey. Aware that other women have the same challenges, Theresa realized she had an opportunity and a responsibility to support and guide other women to the same place of authentic, empowering joy and light. Theresa created It's Not About the Cupcake to introduce the concept of emotional health and to share her message. Theresa believes that growth is contagious and is always working on her own personal development journey and emotional health. She lives in Greater Cincinnati, Ohio, with her husband, her dog Dakota, and occasionally one of their 3 grown kids. Theresa's favorite things are being outside, traveling, and learning new things. She wants you to live a lighter life. You can connect with Theresa at lighterlifecoach.com. So please help me welcome Theresa Vermillion.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. We will dive right in. I do appreciate everybody being here. I know we all have very full schedules, and it is not lost on me that you chose to take this time out to share with us. So I'm going to go ahead and see if can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yay. Okay. Oh, you know what? I was going to take the dog to doggy daycare today, and she was being so cute and sweet and quiet this morning that I did not do that. And now she thinks she wants out. This is always, I'm still getting good at navigating this and Zoom at the same time. Okay, so it's not about the cupcake. Is my screen moving?
Yes, it is. It looks fabulous.
Because it's not about what you're doing, it's about why you are doing it. And I do like, if you guys want to keep this a conversation, I'm open to that. Just if you have a question or a comment, please feel free to unmute and let me and chime in. Your why is almost always an emotion. Now I know this feels like a new concept. When people set new goals or want things to change in their life, we typically think we need to change habits, right? We have to get up earlier. We have to move our bodies better or work harder. We have to eat differently or not eat differently. And we think we need more discipline or more motivation. And the truth is we're just coming at it from the back door instead of coming in the front door. We are trying to force ourselves to change habits instead of just tapping into our emotions. The reason, we'll get to that, the result you want is an emotion. Our results are almost always, I throw in almost in there, our results are almost always an emotion that we want. We want to feel less bad and feel better about what is going on in our lives, whether it's how we look, how we feel about ourselves on the inside, how confident we are, if we feel seen or heard or understood. I think for women, those we were taught that we need to look a certain way or be a certain size or shape to be seen and heard and understand. Your emotion is not a cupcake. The result you want is an emotion. The result you want is not a cupcake. And this comes from, actually, I was working with a client and we were having a little conversation on the phone, and she was meeting somebody for coffee at a Starbucks, and she saw the muffins and thought they looked really good. And she said she realized that she didn't really want the muffins. She just wanted comfort food. Excuse me. At that time, it already happened. She said she chose a substitute. And, my thinking was like, okay, but why do we want to use food for comfort? And the bigger question, like, comfort from what? Comfort, why are we using food to comfort ourselves? There's always a bigger question behind the question. I want to be very, very clear. It is okay to eat a cupcake. This is not about restricting calories and punishing ourselves. I feel like eating food, enjoying food, which is a very social thing for our culture, is one of the physical ways we can experience pleasure on this side of heaven. And, it doesn't mean we eat them all day, every day, of course. And, but we need to stop beating ourselves up for the choices we make, for the food we eat, the food we don't eat. So that's where I come to this, like, behind every action is an emotion. And that goes back to, like, your habits are your actions, right? And we're not thinking about the emotions that are behind those habits. And that's where I come in. That's where I realize, okay, we need to do this a different way. The way we're doing it isn't really working for very many people. How many have been on a diet? How many of you have been on a diet more than once? How many of you like all the fads, right? And sometimes I have felt so desperate at times. I am a lifetime member of Weight Watchers, just full disclosure. One time, it must have been after Christmas or something, and I was at Target and I bought some of that. It wasn't Slim Fast, but it was one of those supplements you take to help you. And I took it back to the store the next day, because I knew in my heart that wasn't not the right way. Like, I don't want to class things as right or wrong. It was not the healthiest option for what I wanted. And I knew I was just feeling desperate instead of being willing to give my body the time that it would take to get how I really wanted to feel. And it does feel good to look good, so I'm not going to discount that. But the real question is, what is the emotion you want to feel that you think a cupcake is going to give you? Sorry, baby, you have to wait a few minutes. So, and sometimes we're trying to not feel a feeling. And a lot of times people, Carol, just help me keep track of time. I can feel myself getting really wordy here.
You are doing fabulous. Keep going.
Yeah. So sometimes we want to eat a cupcake because we don't want to feel something. Emotions get labeled negative and positive. And what I've learned is that we can really just, this is a practice. I do not have this mastered, and I'm still learning every day. And it is a practice for you as well. We can learn that emotions are neutral. If you can understand, just remember, emotions are neutral. They're not right or wrong. Some emotions feel very uncomfortable in our bodies, and other emotions feel really good in our bodies, right? If we remember, our body is where we feel our emotions. We think it's our brain. And that's like another workshop, I think, where we get into the connection of our brains to our our thoughts and emotions, because they are connected, but they're not the same thing. So it's not about what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And that why is almost always an emotion. A little bit about me in a nutshell. I came at this, yes, I was teaching 6th grade, got married, moved for my husband's job while I was pregnant. So we had 3 kids, and 4 moves in less than 7 years. And so I was overweight, out of shape, and rightfully so at the bottom of my own to-do list. Everybody else's needs came before mine. And when you have little children, to a certain extent, that is how that has to be. And so again, I'm learning to come at things without judgment. And so I was on this path. The kids got into school. It was okay. How can I do something and still be the primary caregiver for my family? So I became a certified personal trainer and a certified health coach. And during this time, I mean, I was still being challenged somewhat with my weight. So I wasn't as large. I think at my heaviest, I was 196 or 194 when I actually took me 2 times to get to real for Weight Watchers to really catch on. I learned a lot. I know how to lose weight. I know, the health things. I know how to move, obviously, our bodies. So I do have that advantage, but to know that I can stay off the scale and manage weight is just a really fortunate place for me to be in. And that's also how I support my clients. It's, if I have a client whose main goal is weight loss, it's, we're not talking about diet and nutrition and exercise. I can support that, but we're talking about the feelings and how to work through that emotional health on a daily basis so that we're not wanting to eat cupcakes to make ourselves feel better. So all of this along this journey at this time, working as a personal trainer, I was having very intimate conversations with clients and with really good friends, other women close to my age, and realized we were sharing the same struggles. Now, how many of you know really awesome kick-ass women that are out there just crushing life? And we find out they feel like they're not good enough either. They're struggling. They're think that they have to be a certain look, a certain size, a certain weight, a certain IQ to be seen and heard and understood and comfortable and confident. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. There's, I started to see this pattern. It was like a little bit, not did other women feel the way I felt about myself at times, like that we all were feeling this. And I was like, okay, so that kind of was another light bulb moment for me. So Richard Bach said, we teach best what we most need to learn. And that was kind of how I transitioned into where I am now, because that started me on another journey, right? Realizing that there was a problem that needed a solution. And once I solved that problem for myself through coaching, through education, through getting coached, it was really the most informational thing we could do. And I was seeing this in the health and fitness industry, where we were talking about the emotions that we were taught to not feel. It's not our fault. It's not our parents' fault. Again, we come at this without judgment, without blame, but to know that okay, this is why we want to eat a cupcake, because I don't know how to feel miserable, how to feel uncomfortable in my body and go on with life. And again, that's where I think emotional intelligence is just so important. And I think we're starting to see this a lot more now. And that is how I landed here as the creator of Later Life Coach, where I create unique programs for my clients in small groups, as a speaker and author, and just on the leading edge of what is growing around here, around everywhere. Author, creator, speaker. This graphic in the middle, we're going to talk about this today. This is the program I'm going to share with you. If you would like a hard copy of this, please get me your US mail address, and I am more than happy to mail this to you so that you have a physical reminder. I still have books that are for sale. If you're interested in those, let me know also. So a few keys we're going to focus on today is your emotional health, how to unlock your potential, and how to access your personal, my window's in the way, power. Oh yeah, that's such a good word, personal power. So do you have goals? Are there things in your life you want to be different? Are there things in your life you want to change? How's everybody doing? Are we good? Are you with me? Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
We're totally with you, Theresa.
All right, I'm going to keep going because I'm talking and not necessarily watching all the other things that happen on Zoom calls, right? So a lot of times they have goals that are related to business, life, health, relationships, wealth. It doesn't matter. My very specific niche is health and weight loss, and the tools that I use that my clients learn to use in their lives flows into all areas of life. So that's what I think is part of the magic of life coaching. Why do we set goals? Why do we want something to change? Why do we want to lose weight? Why do we want more money or different job or someone we can spend the rest of our lives with? We want that different emotion, right? We want a different feeling. So remember, behind every action is an emotion. Yeah. Your desired results are based on emotion. I think we got that. And your actions are based on emotion. So that's why I say your results are based on an emotion. The goals that you have are based in emotion. If you want a new job, if you have a goal at your business, it is even money goals. And, like that gets such a bad rap. People have a hard time with that, myself included. We have to work through those scarcity mindsets to that abundance mindset. There's, when you have more money, you're just able to be a more powerful version of you, because we can make more changes in the world, whether they're, even when we show up as full as we can and the closest we can get to that lighter version of ourselves, then we spread that light to everybody else we meet in our day. And so that's one of the reasons why I will say all day long that it's important to work on yourself. We call it self-care, we call it self-love. Really, we're working on ourselves, and that's not wrong. Behind every action is an emotion. So we don't need to focus on changing our habits. We need to focus on our emotions. And this is really interesting. I was working with a client yesterday, and we'll coach on things. And I don't remember what we were saying specifically. And I like to keep client confidentiality anyway. So I don't know how much of that I would share. But I asked her a question, and I think we were talking about health. And I said, what does that mean to you? She's like, well, I don't want to get diabetes, and I don't want to get one of those other chronic diseases and something. And I said, again, you're focused on what you don't want. And when we focus on what we don't want, we usually get what we focus on. We have to focus on what it means to be healthy, that we can move freely without pain, that we can fit into all of our clothes, we can show up confidently and knowing that we are important and are valuable, regardless if we feel seen or heard or understood. So it absolutely have to focus on the emotions that you want to feel, not the emotions you do not want to feel. So instead of focusing on our habits, you're going to focus on our emotions. Okay, great. How do we do that? With the GLOW process. I'm going to teach you right now. Are we good to go on? Does anybody have questions? Anything you want to pause, argue with me about? Tell me where I'm wrong? Any of the things? Okay, didn't think so. Just kidding. It's a new concept for some people. So the GLOW process is to G, get clear, L, look, O, overturn. I'm going to just break this down as simple as I can because it's new. G, you want to get clear on the problem or the feeling that you're having. L, you're going to look for the trigger. And then O, you're going to overturn the thought that created that feeling. And just a little advanced, you guys get private information here. I have decided there's a GLOW 2, and we're not going to get to that today, but this is GLOW 1 and there's a GLOW 2, because look at exactly what I did we're focusing on the problem. And we're not focusing on, we need clarity. If we're clear on what the problem is, it's easier to solve that problem, right? But we also, and that's, I think, a big thing that life coaches do. We focus on the solution. We focus on where you want to go and the feelings that we do want to have, not where we are and why we're stuck. We're like, okay, we're stuck. That's not, we don't want to stay stuck. So we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on where we're headed. Yes, there's two of those. So G, get clear on the situation or the feeling. What's the problem you want to solve or the feeling that you want to change? And one of the ways I explain this is in my book, And it's a very simple way, but I feel like it's kind of relatable as if you're stuck in traffic and you're very frustrated because you're stuck in traffic, or the person in front of you can't drive straight. And, you know, road rage seems to be something most people can relate to, maybe on some spectrum, So take that breath. Okay, safety is the most important thing. Why am I so frustrated? Why? I can't control the driver in front of me. There's nothing I can do about that. Am I frustrated because I made myself late? Am I frustrated because I'm not happy about where I have to go? Or, you know, what is that emotion that we're experiencing? And then, you want to look for that trigger. What is that thought? And then I just gave this to you, like, you know, maybe we're trying to break the habit of being late for things and we didn't succeed that time. And so we're very mad at ourselves. And we think that we're taking it out on the other driver who doesn't know how to drive right. But really, we're just frustrated, whether we're, you know, even if you're not late. Other drivers, I think, can sometimes, it's just kind of scary because we can't control them. And that's one of the concepts I really work on with clients, is like what we can control. We cannot control outside circumstances, ever. We cannot. We can only control our thoughts. In this case, if something triggered that, our thoughts, which are going to give us control over our emotions and the reactions that we want, the results we want. We can only control what is going on inside of here. We can't control anything outside there. And that, I think, is another thing a really good life coach is really going to focus on, what's going on in here, that the thoughts, the emotions, the connection, and how we can use those to teach ourselves to live light. So we overtrain that trigger. What is a different empowering thought I can have instead? Like, you know, and again, take that deep breath. Okay, I didn't make it out the door as early as I wanted to this time. That's okay. I can give myself grace. The most important thing is getting there safely. And I'm going to choose to be more relaxed about this because I'll get there when I get there. And if that's Theresa time, then that has to be Theresa time. Am I happy about it? No. Am I going to do, is it going to change in this moment? No, I'm all, you know, the time is already the time. I feel like I'm outing myself a lot here because behind every action is an emotion. So me driving aggressively or angrily or flipping people off isn't going to solve any of those problems. It's just going to keep us frustrated. It's going to keep us in that emotion instead of choosing to live light. By changing that trigger, be like, oh, okay, here's what's really going on. Maybe it was just a conversation you had with a loved one that morning, or a comment somebody made that you really hit you the wrong way, you know, and that's, you didn't even realize you were camping out on that thought or that comment. Again, we can't control other people's comments. We can only control our thoughts about them, you know. And a way to think a more empowering thought in a situation like that would be, maybe they didn't mean it the way I took it. Or maybe they're dealing with something and they projected that onto me. That happens a lot. When we realize how much other people project onto us, all this gets super easy because everything really is about, and we do that too. So we have to make sure we're not projecting onto other people. Questions, comments. That was like in the nutshell, the GLOW process. Do you want to do some quick coaching on it? Is there a situation I can coach you on that to see if this works, to see how you can apply it? Because knowledge is great. We can have all these ideas, but if we can't apply them or use them in our life throughout the day, then all we have is knowledge. If we don't use them to transform our situations or our lives, then it's not as helpful as, or to go out and really you're not going to be living light, as I say, you know. And I hope that is a term that sits well with you, because whether it's joy, achievement, whatever that emotion is, I just feel like I'm very convinced that our journeys on this spinning planet are way too short to be going around frustrated and stressed and overwhelmed. And a lot of those uncomfortable emotions that we seem to hang on to a lot of the times, and they're not wrong. Those emotions aren't wrong. Our brains are trying to keep us safe, which is something our primitive brains, like our brains are pre-wired to look for problems so that we can make sure that we don't get killed or eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or whatever. And now we have these other more evolved brains that can think and that can feel. And so we have to be able to navigate those emotions. So you gotta say, thank you, brain. I'm not in danger. I just need to realize that that person wasn't trying to hurt me, or I wasn't trying to hurt that other person. Good? Comments? This is just a little overview of my business. The Lighter Life Philosophy has 3 pillars. They're empower your mind, embrace your body, and elevate your energy. And now very comprehensive. That's the most comprehensive 12-week program that I have. But almost everything always comes back to these 3 pillars. Client results that people have gotten with me. I had somebody say to me once, like, I don't understand the excitement about coaching or something. I'm like, oh, it's that aha moment. Like, just like when you're teaching and the kids understand like a way to do something, or that light bulb goes on. So you're are invited to attend a free workshop that I'm doing in a couple of weeks, Tuesday, September 19th, over at the Elevate Office Center in Liberty Center. And that will be hybrid. So if you want information on that, please let me know. If you, did you drop anything in the chat and physical address? So I can send you that card and or email so I can give you more information about any of these, or let me know if you want information on them. You can always go to itsnotaboutthecupcake.com and get the free guide. And that uses the example of weight loss in that, how to use the GLOW method for weight loss. Buy my book, Microshift, or schedule a meeting, call, text, or email. I am in the process of switching over to a more comprehensive CRM. And so I took the QR code out of there so until the new calendar is all set up. And I just want to thank you again so much. This has been a real pleasure and a real honor. And I am grateful that you guys were chose to spend the time with us.
Theresa, can you just give us a big smile, please? I love it. Oh my gosh, you are amazing.
No, you're amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Theresa, for sharing your mini masterclass series with us here. It's not about the cupcake. I am going to put us on a different viewing screen here if you want. There we go. And then we can just open it up for Q&A. And I'd also love to just hear from each of our attendees, if you don't mind, unmuting yourself, and we'll just go around the room for some introductions and then share our takeaways with Theresa here in her fabulous mini masterclass here. There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Hey,
Hi,
Diana.
Teresa. Sorry, I don't have a camera on right now, but I recently had a chance to kind of just talk with Teresa, and we've kind of run into each other in at a couple of different events, and I just definitely want to say thank you. I love your approach to things, and like every conversation we have, I feel like I'm learning something new about myself. So I think that she's awesome. So if you ever had the chance to talk with her, please do so. And I'm looking forward to working with Theresa more in September.
Thank you. Yeah, it's thank you for that. And I love to have I love these kinds of conversations with people. So whether you're interested in working with me or not, or looking for a coach or not, that's irrelevant. If any of this landed with you or resonated and you just want to go deeper, I love to do that. So I invite all of you to to schedule that conversation with me. That'd be fun. You know, let's go to lunch or coffee or happy hour or walk. Thank you, Diane. I appreciate that very much.
Theresa, hi, it's Claire. It's nice to see you again. And I want to thank you for your time in doing this. It really resonated with me because we talked before, I'm also a certified health coach, more of a life coach. And that why, that emotion, figuring out your why do you do something? Why don't you do something? So poignant about maybe it's the other person's anger that's coming out onto you. It's not your reaction to it, but it's still your reaction to something. But what other suggestions do you have to help people, remind people, where, you know, I've suggested putting Post-it notes on the refrigerator, put Post-it notes on the pantry, like you're bored, close the door. Or, you know, a lot of people would wear a rubber band and snap the rubber band to remind them, you know, get out of the cupboard, get out of the refrigerator. Do you have any other tips on things like that?
Yeah, and that is a really great point. I know that that is a go-to that a lot of people use. And let me be very clear. All of the tools can be useful. It's not like there's a right or wrong way to do this. If it works for you, do it. Like I said, I've done this, you know, I know how to move my body. I know how to eat. That doesn't mean, you know, I eat like on point all the time, all day, every day. I just know how to choose what feels right for me. And I don't get on the scale. I don't weigh and measure my food anymore. I don't count calories anymore. Now, maybe because it's already in there that I know it. And so if those tools work for you, that's great. And I would say, if you're standing, and I do, like I've done that, I stand at the refrigerator looking for something, go to the pantry, and so then I have to stand there and go, okay, wait, am I hungry? You know, because, and sometimes those triggers, I didn't talk about this in the presentation, those triggers are physical triggers. Sometimes we're hungry, sometimes we're thirsty, sometimes we're tired. There's, you know, so we have to pay attention to our bodies. And if we're standing there and we realize, we could even be like, am I triggered? I was working with a client once and we were talking about like how social media can be very triggering for her, because she had part of her story was very traumatic and she had to have some surgery, and she was very uncomfortable with what she had been through. It was very traumatizing for her, and she still is learning to accept the, you know, what the physical deformity, almost, it's not really deformity, but she's very uncomfortable with it. And people would make comments on social media, and it really, she, you know, and she would be mad at them, and I'm like, well, what's really going on though, you know? And I was able to ask the questions, because again, I think a really good coach is not going to tell you what's going on. They're going to ask you, because I believe, you know, in your body, you know what's going on. You have all of these answers. And I was able to ask her enough questions just to speed up the story, that she finally was like, I wish my story wasn't my story. And I was like, and it's okay. You can wish your story wasn't your story, and understand, you know, that's a circumstance you can't change also. So you would feel those emotions. So if I'm standing there with the open refrigerator going, do I want wine or ice cream? You know, ask those questions. And it's so important. We've got to get out of our heads and into our bodies. Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? And sometimes I'll be like, I think I'm going to have a glass of wine. And now I'm to the point where I go, I just want to regulate my nervous system, because based on whatever I came home from or had just done, that I was like, yeah, okay, this is, I cut straight to the chase now. But it's like, am I triggered? Am I feeling an emotion I don't want to be feeling? Am I having an uncomfortable feeling in my body? Is it because I didn't like what I saw on the scale today? Is it because, you know, I had a really hard conversation at work, or my boss tried to write me up? I don't know. You know, I'm not into corporate a lot, so I don't know what other things people deal with in a day. You're mad that that driver flipped you off and was really rude in traffic when he doesn't know the GLOW method yet. I have to be really careful. I use this example all the time. And if I'm driving assertively, I remember my license plate actually says live light. And so I'll be like, why don't people merge onto the highway going fast enough? And I'm like, okay, Theresa, careful as you go around all these people, like, and live light. So it's about feeling that emotion then. And you can stand there. If you really take the time to feel that uncomfortable emotion, it's painful. It's hard. When I was coaching, with my coaches, I'm like, I don't think I can do this. It's so painful. Some of the emotions we have buried deep down, you know, we put them in that box with a ribbon and put it on the shelf in the closet. Like, I am never going near that again. Some of the things we've been through, it's really hard to get that back out of the closet and take that ribbon off and feel those painful emotions. But when you do that, it takes about 60 to 90 seconds for it to move through you. And on the other side of that is your life. Because our body, like, if we're doing this with all the hard emotions, that's where all that comes from. Those thoughts that like keep us so overwhelmed, so stressed out, so unhappy. There was a time in my life I had everything I had wanted and I just felt stuck. And I couldn't stop the crazy train long enough to figure out how to get unstuck, right? And so it's learning to do breath work and breathe. That is like one of a breath work is something else. You're going to start seeing breath work coaches popping up. If you haven't seen that already, just taking those, even just 3 very slow, deep breaths will reset your parasympathetic nervous system. So it gets you out of that fight or flight, looking for the problem so that you can fight it off. It just calms your body. Step into gratitude. I'm really grateful that that person brought that attention to me today. It was a hard conversation. I didn't like it, but I'm grateful that I'm aware of it now. That, you know, or that, you know what, that person really wasn't, that comment they made, they were projecting onto me. That wasn't about me at all. And it's about knowing your truth and knowing to trust yourself. And that's something my clients learn very quickly, is like, we are taught that our truth isn't our truth. We're taught to believe things that we really don't need to be believing about ourselves, you know, and that can come from that comment that teacher made in 5th grade, or that thing that kid said to you in 7th grade that made us think that, oh, wow, you know, I'm just built big boned. I'll never be a skinny person. Like, and that's just an example, you know, that isn't even mine, but like, those are the examples of things that we have in our heads that aren't true about ourselves. And then we learn that truth about ourselves, and then we can learn to trust that truth. So breathwork, gratitude, you know, or knowing like if something happened that wasn't mine, and not hold on to what other people are throwing at us, because everything is very energetic, and whether we realize it or not. And so when there's a lot of that negative energy out into the world, at the supermarket, all those things, have you ever come home from the supermarket, feel like you need a nap? It's because of all that energy in that store, all, you know, and a lot of coming at you visually, auditorily, all those things. I keep going on sidetrack, so I hope you're following me okay. Energetic projections. Have I projected onto other people, and I need to take ownership for that? Is there somebody I need to apologize to for something I said or did today? I had a thought a couple weeks ago, like, I'm still trying to work this out. We all can relate to Cinderella, but none of us think we're Cinderella's stepsister ever. Like, we're all like, I'm assuming maybe I'm the only one. I'm like, you know, can totally relate to Cinderella, but I could never possibly relate to acting like her stepsister. And it's like, maybe I need to have a little bit more self-awareness. Because I think in our hearts, most of us, if you're on a call like this, our hearts are good. Our hearts are not, we're not looking to hurt other people. And sometimes we do. And so it's really hard to look at that, you know. It's really interesting when I hear things come out of my mouth. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, that did not sound at all like how it felt in my body. It comes out sounding much more mean or aggressive than I wanted it to. You know, and awareness really is just the first step. Breath work, gratitude, awareness, Move your body, go move your body, get outside, go stand barefoot in the grass if it's warm enough. Just do whatever you really need. And sometimes when you take those 3 deep breaths and try to just be like, stop thinking and feel down into your heart space, drop into your body. You can feel it in your gut, feel it in your heart. Where is that pain right now that I'm trying to soothe with food? If that's what you're trying to do. If you're just hungry, then find something that will get you through the night. If you're just tired, close the refrigerator door and go to bed. And if you choose to eat something because you're tired or mad or hungry, it's okay. We've got to give ourselves grace and be like, you know what? Yep, I'm pissed off or frustrated or had a crappy, whatever, feel like the day took you instead of you taking on the day. I'm going to have a glass of wine and that's okay. That's why it's not about the cupcake, but it's okay to eat cupcakes, right? Does that help?
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm very long-winded on that, but it was a great question. So thank you for asking it.
You're welcome.
Really.
Theresa, this was an amazing, amazing mini masterclass. It's not about the cupcake. My biggest takeaways is I think this is the best presentation I have heard you present here at Beautiful Faces Going Places. I loved your glow process. And for me, the way you explained everything, your PowerPoint presentation, the visuals, it just kind of wrapped it all up in a beautiful bow. It truly was a gift to listen to your mini masterclass. And my biggest takeaway really was thinking about the tie-in with emotions and feelings, right? And if we're aware of what's triggering that, those thoughts, those feelings, that being aware of the triggers where we think, oh my gosh, I just need to gobble down some chocolate or ice cream or and that we're trying to soothe those emotions, right? We're trying to soothe ourselves. So for me today, you really just tied it all together. And I think the first step is just being aware when we're triggered and aware when we're feeling those emotions. And then I think you also said something about like stay off the scale. I think what you help your clients with is staying off the scale and still managing their weight, right? By working through their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, all of those trigger points that cause us to overeat, overdrink, over whatever, right? So I absolutely loved your mini masterclass today.
Thank you. If you think about it, we know what to do. We know what to give our bodies to be healthy. It's why are we not doing it? And it's not about the motivation. So yeah, thank you. And it's not, when we're using food to soothe our souls, and I love that you use those words because those are exactly words that, I think I've used. We were taught to soothe our souls in other ways, right? We were taught that we shouldn't be crying for whatever reason or to whatever those go back to. And again, it's not a judgment. It's just to be curious about it. And it's like, okay. And also that's like looking at the problem. It doesn't matter really why. Like, how do we want to choose to move forward? And learning to experience those emotions instead of feeling like we need to soothe them. And we can do both. We can experience them and soothe them, and sometimes just letting them be soothe themselves. So thank you for that. I appreciate it very much.
Yes, I absolutely love it. So we are almost reaching the top of the hour, getting ready to wrap up here our mini masterclass series by Theresa Vermillion, Lighter Life Coach. So Nicole, Caitlin, Yasna, Diana, Laura, if you have anything that you'd like to chime in, share a takeaway, you are more than welcome to, unmute yourself or turn on your video. But I just want to say, Theresa, this was truly an amazing mini masterclass series. It's not about the cupcake. You can connect with Theresa at lighterlifecoach.com or it's not about the cupcake.com. And just a reminder, Theresa has a workshop coming up on September the 19th. Reach out to Theresa for more information. And Theresa, because you are on our success team here at Beautiful Faces Going Places, Women's Success Network, if you could send me your information on your workshop, I will make sure to include that in our upcoming September newsletter. So I want to make sure we get that information out there if anyone would like to tap into your workshop. So, and really dive into, it's not about the cupcake and the glow process more intensely. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Please visit beautifulfacesgoingplaces.com for all of our upcoming events and also our membership here to our professional network. All right, have an amazing day. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.